in war. And we need to pray for our military. We need to pray for our president and all those that are in authority. That's what the National Day of Prayer is all about. It's not about Islam versus Christianity or whatever. It's about a nation coming together and praying for its leadership. And that's what we're going to do on the May 6th, National Day of Prayer, to focus this nation on praying to God to ask for his help.
You do realize that Muslims often pray 5 times a day for their God to kill us, to ruin America. Praying for our leaders to better the country or whatever isn't actually doing jack shit. I'm going to pray for $1 million. I don't want to work for it. I just want to pray. I'm going to pray for shit to get better, but I'm not actually going to do anything to fucking help shit get better.
That is today, and that's what's happening. And as you may remember, the Pentagon decided to disinvite evangelist Franklin Graham from today's National Day of Prayer event, a watchdog group claiming that his past description of Islam as an evil religion might stir up Muslim extremists, and that was the reason that that invite was rescinded. But the culture war over this goes way past this one man. Activists are in overdrive, some saying that the National Day of Prayer should be scrapped in favor of a National Day of Reason. Joined now by Father Jonathan Morris. He's a Fox News contributor, and Dan Barker is the co-president of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, a group who filed a lawsuit against the federal government claiming this day is a violation of church and state. Welcome to both of you. Great to have you both here today. Dan, what's your problem? What's the problem with this event? I mean, there's a lot of people that really get a lot of spiritual goodness out of this event. So why not just let them do it?
Yeah, and there's a lot of Muslims that get a lot of spiritual goodness out of, killing other people that disagree with them, like Americans flying planes into their buildings, so why not just let them do it?
Well, they can do it privately. Our problem is with the government doing it. There's a difference between free speech and government speech. Read the judge's good decision. The United States is a secular country. Our nation cannot officially endorse a religious ritual. Millions of good Americans don't believe in God, and we think prayer is a waste of time. Prayer is counterproductive when we should be working on real solutions. Prayer can even be dangerous. Christians can pray. This whole thing was orchestrated by the evangelical Christian right, Billy Graham and Campus Crusade for Christ. They're free to pray, but without the endorsement of the national government.
All right,
that cheapens prayer.
Let me get Father Jonathan's response to that. Father Jonathan, he's saying, go ahead, have a day of prayer, but it can't be government-led. It can't be government-sponsored under church and state.
Well, first of all, let me say that I am all in favor of a proper separation of church and state, in which the government allows and protects the freedom for the exercise of religion, and secondly, does not choose one denomination or religion over another. But what we're talking about here is a National Day of Prayer has nothing to do with supporting one religion over another. In fact, it's not even about religion. It's about an expression of faith. And however you want to come up with a revisionist story of what our founding fathers and our country mean and care about in terms of faith, you're never going to be able to say that they didn't believe in a higher power on whom we are dependent and whose help we need.
Oh, God. You started off pretty good there, Father, with I'm all about proper separation of church and state, and I'm all about the government not promoting any religion. Oh, well, that's fine and good. Then we agree on that. And then you turn around and say, but you can't say that the founding fathers didn't believe in a creator that we depend on and we need his help. No, bullshit. A lot of the founding fathers were deists, in which case they knew that that higher power would not bother to help them if they asked. You're full of shit. You need to relook some of your history. You might work here on Fox News for them and their retarded fucking viewers, but now this is the age of the internet where other people are going to see your bullshit, and we're going to know you're full of shit, and we're going to call you out on it, just like this.
But I just don't think it's fair to say this is an evangelical right-wing thing. I'm a Catholic priest here. I've never been accused of being part of an evangelical right-wing conspiracy to turn our prayer into a Christian theocracy.
Well, that's probably because that's a retarded fucking conspiracy theory. No one here is stupid enough to think that your National Day of Prayer is going to turn our nation into a Christian theocracy or anything like that just because you prayed for a day. We don't think that. We understand the separation of church and state. That's why we have a problem with this. You understand separation of church and state as well, because if this was a national day for Muslim prayer, you'd be freaking the fuck out. But because they're reading from the Bible, you're cool with it. They read from the Bible on this. Listen.
Yeah, and I should just point out that the picture that you're looking at is a reading of the Bible marathon that has been going on for many hours already at the Capitol. So, Mr. Barker, what do you say in response to what Father Jonathan had to say? That, you know, it's clear in so many of the documents in the founding of this country that a belief in a higher power was part of the construction of the United States of America.
I love that argument. I also like to demolish it by reminding people that America came before Darwin. You see, there was no theory of evolution nor science to back that theory up back when the Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution. So, of course, their language would have been creator because they didn't understand that it could be any other way. You got it, dipshit? Doesn't mean that they were Christian. Doesn't mean they believe the same shit you do. In fact, they did not at all believe the same shit you do. The way that you try and skew things to fit your political agenda is sickening, and that's not what they're about.
And, you know, and I go back to, again, just sort of, you know, you point out that 15% of Americans don't believe in God. Well, 85% do. So why not, you know, allow them to continue this tradition that they find, you know, you may not find it spiritually enriching, but they do.
Why can't that 85% just be good little Christians or good little God believers and just believe in God themselves, pray themselves? Why do you have to do it in public? What is this whole fascination with, you have to hear me pray? You have to know my faith. Otherwise, it's just, what, irrelevant? I don't know what you guys are looking for. You must have us know about the Bible. You're having a Bible reading marathon in a goddamn government building. Okay? Do you understand how it's fucked up? How it's going to one religion, promoting one religion. They're not reading from any other fucking holy books. It's bullshit. You all know it's bullshit. You have to fucking go around back door to try and fucking escape the bullshit that it is.
They can continue it privately. We're not objecting to them. The Christian right, and by the way, this whole law that we have challenged was instigated by the evangelical right and is being orchestrated by the evangelical right. And many liberal Christians and Jews and others have been frozen out of this thing. But as your father just said, I shouldn't call him father, but as your guest just said, it's only faith that's being recognized. What about those of us without faith? What about those of us who think faith is dangerous? We are being excluded and frozen out of this idea.
Father Jonathan, your response?
Well,
it's funny that you're suggesting that you're being excluded from a day of prayer, and when you say that prayer is dangerous. That'd be like me saying I'm being excluded from some event that you're putting on that I don't believe in. Quite honestly, I happen to believe in reason, and I support reason. I don't think faith and reason are in contradiction. But nobody is freezing you out of a day of prayer that you don't want to participate in. The government is giving a platform for people to express things that are so deep and important to them. They are not in any way pushing one religion over another.
Okay, Father Jonathan, the bitch just said, let me explain to you why we're showing this picture, because they're doing a Bible reading marathon, and I doubt they're reading from any other fucking holy books in that goddamn government building. Okay, so it is promoting one religion over another. But more important than that, it is promoting religion over non-religion. You can't sit there and have a national day of prayer and expect people that don't pray not to get pissed off. If there was a national day of no praying, then all the people out there that prayed would be pissed off, right? Even though they don't have to follow it. They don't believe in it, they can just ignore it. But you better fucking believe that if there was a national day of not praying, Fox News and all the Christians would be freaking the fuck out. But they can't understand why we get upset about the separation of church and state not being taken seriously.
We're going through tough times in our country. Let's allow good people who want to ask God for help to have that possibility.
National Prayer Day reminds me of Senior Skip Day. It's a bunch of people who aren't doing anything and feeling great about it. Now, to be honest, I really don't give a rat's ass that they have a National Day of Prayer. I'm totally fine with people praying in public, in private, and wherever else. I just don't like the fact that, you know, it to be forced on anyone. And as long as it's not being forced on anyone, I really don't care. It's not like the Gestapo is knocking on your door and asking to watch you pray on National Prayer Day or else you go to jail. And you don't have to be at the government building where they're doing the Bible marathon. You know, just find something else to do that day. I can live with that shit. I just don't think that they should feel entitled to it as much as they do. Oh, higher power, will you please get rid of the National Prayer Day in America? Thank you. We'll see how that works out. Coctopus out.